Hello there, and welcome to episode 12 of my tutorial series for Dwarf Fortress. In this one, we're going to introduce new mechanics again, and we're going to continue building our old projects. So all in all, we're going to have some jolly good fun here. So what I want to set on up today is a hospital. We've already set up the room for that, and I want to go on over all the necessary preparations for the healthcare in this episode as well, because there's actually quite a lot of things to do for that. The easiest part, which we're going to start with, is we're just going to assign a area as some hospital, and that's by far the easiest part. So we have to get that as a meeting area first, if I remember correctly. And then we signed that as a new hospital. So that was the easiest part. So when we go for the hospital, we need to assign a chief medical dwarf to get that done. So let's start with that. So we could go for one of our people here. So let's say, well, our diagnostician is going to be our chief medical dwarf. Why not? So without a chief medical dwarf, we cannot get anything going here. So as we see there's a lot of different requests from this building, and we're going to go over all these bit by bit. First of all, I want to emphasize that we got doctors down here. So I want to start with the doctors there. So we take a doctor here, a diagnostician there. Well, maybe not our warriors. Warriors are technically never a good idea. We could assign our chief medical dwarf for that. Now then a surgeon. Probably take somebody who's actually already experienced in that. And a wound doctor. So we gonna go and take our bookkeeper for that. So now we have all the 4 jobs down. And as you see there, we also have a lot of items that are requested there. They want thread, they want cloth, they want splints, they want crutches, they want powder for casts, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of things that we get to get done. Also, the hospital requires beds, tables, and traction benches and chests. So let's get started. First off, I want to make this room look a little bit neat though. So might be not that important, but oh, we have no beds. We have no wood. No. So situation here in the fortress is growing more and more tense when it comes down to wood. As you see there, we just don't happen to have that much wood in our environment here. And therefore, it's going to be a good idea to check on out which jobs in our roster are still bound to wood and which ones we can just nope out on, you know. Just say we make that out of other materials. Another thing that I want to do here is I just figured it would be a nice idea to build ourselves a bridge over the river. There we go. So we can just go for the other side of the valley here easier, because there's a couple of trees that we can still chop down, because no beds, no fun. Especially when we want to build up a hospital, beds are doubly important. Okay, so one of our hunter. I didn't assign a hunter. Sometimes you get somebody who's a hunter by default, and something that I wanted to avoid there. So here we have to here's the culprit. So our wood stockpile has to be connected to that one, and I think it's also about time that we consider dismantling our industries up here. We also happen to have quite a lot of unhappy people here, so we probably should take that down as well. So first things first, let's remove some stockpiles and see what we can do here. This smelter can be dismantled too. We have a smelter downstairs. The mechanics workshop, I'll keep it for now. The metalsmith's forge, we have one downstairs as well, so we can take that down too. So a little bit of that. Well, there's another smelter up here. Jeez. Ah, yeah, that's the steel smelter, but we're also going to dismantle that. I want to rebuild this entire industry downstairs properly. So, there we go. We got the carpenter's workshop, we got stone workers, we got smelters, we got metalsmiths. Yeah, okay. We got everything we want. Except for a bar storage that's large enough for our megalomania, but that's entirely a different story. Good. So with that out of the way, we should now start making our furniture down here. Let's have a quick look at the work order tab, which is an absolute nightmare. So we have wooden bins on the tab. I want to remove them and make them out of different materials. And we got beds on the tab. But that's it, isn't it? Yeah. Right. So we got nothing else made out of wood. Bins, though, have to be produced somehow, but the good thing is bins can also be made out of metal. So, oh boy, not bindings. Yeah, here we go. So bins. I'm going to make them out of iron here because I find that the most available material, and we go for the usual thing. Amount of empty iron bins should be at least 3. And we go on for that, and good. Good we are. Let's check on out how's the equipment situation here. Slowly getting there. I really gotta say it's a pretty painful procedure. So we got already iron armor assigned. Sometimes, well, it is a bit of a difficult thing to perceive. This guy could also be not wearing a breastplate because he's wearing too much other stuff on top over his armor. So oh, we got a thief here, so that ain't cool. So there's a troglodyte hanging out on there, but I think I don't know where that thief is going to be perceivable. Yeah, that's what happens if you have too much wealth on you. Let's see. Basically, we can only see that guy as soon as one of my guys has seen him. We could now send our soldiers to patrol there a little bit, but I wouldn't even know where to patrol. Let's see. Okay, where were we? Yeah, hospital. I'm sorry about the distraction. So we put in some beds in there. We have right now only one bed available. That's a bit tragic, but it serves. And the other thing we require will be a table. Put the table you want to use preferably close to the bed. It's something. It's something like that is pretty good because let's see. Well, I really don't know. If somebody knows how to deal with that, please let me know. I haven't put my research into that topic yet. Anyways, bed and table right next to each other. Why? Because when your wounded dwarf is being treated, you can then carry him over from the bed to the table easier. So that's the idea behind that. Another thing that we want to set on up here is a mechanics workshop. Where is it at? Mechanic there. I have one upstairs, but I want to create one downstairs as well. And we're definitely going to set on up a second metalsmith storage here as well, because I feel like one is rarely enough for the entire city. Good. At the same time, let's check out what happened to our guild hall. Oh, it's just at 700. It might be now fully decorated, but we really need more value added into that. So let's see what we can fetch up here. So the highly decorated items at some point can reach really insane values. We just have to let our people work with that. So that shale throne here, it's getting somewhere. Let's wait what our workers will do. But regarding that unhappiness, before I lose track of that again, we check this out. There's this wild child. I don't know why he's that unhappy. But here we got a A lot of desires that we can't fulfill that easily, but here praying to Comneth Levelin. So what? How many temples do we have? I think we still have only one temple, the Manji Cathedral. So, oh, it's actually the right god, wasn't it? So yeah, Fisher dwarfs have a tendency to be unhappy because they also are quite much outside. So don't be too or to be surprised about your fisher dwarfs being upset about everything in life. So here, well, rain. Yeah, you just this guy just had a bad day. Got in an argument and was in the rain. Dwarves hate being in the rain, by the way. And here we have another fisher dwarf. So here we have another desire for prayers. The thing is, the larger your city grows, the more temples you'll require. The fun thing about temples, though, is they don't need to have that much of a monetary investment compared to things when you want to establish them. Petitions. So the Golden Faith wants a temple in the priest. So this, if we have a petition though, the temple has to be furnitured accordingly. So we have some work ahead of us. Nice. All right. So let's get back to this one. We have now a bed and a table down. Another thing we will require will be a chest. Let's take care that we don't take any too particularly valuable chest. That's just not worth it. And let's set up some more beds. Yet again, bed quality doesn't matter too much. So this is actually kind of a waste there. These beds are just too good for a battery, for that particular purpose. So, weirdly enough, you can also put a bed into a temple and it enhances the value of the temple. It is just like that. Alright. My city also is swimming in iron. We have such an abundance of iron. This is, by the way, something you really should keep an eye on on every occasion. What are the materials that my city has an overly excessive amount of? It really helps you to get a focus into your economy. Alright. So let's hope that... Oh yeah, here we can do that. I hope that the workshop here is getting done soon. But we're going to continue with the hospital in a second. I just want to set on up the new temple for was it the Golden Faith. So here we go. The Diamond Sanctuary. So this place now needs to be stocked up accordingly. So we will put up a polishing job. And here we're going to add a new job for making a traction bench. Traction benches require mechanisms and a table. Basically, your dwarfs turn the table plus mechanics into a medical bed, so to say. That's the easiest comparison. What a traction bench is actually used for is it does fix bones. Whenever a dwarf has to be in a continuously fixated position because of heavy bone fracturing and stuff like that, traction benches come into play. The interesting thing about hospitals is that several dwarfs can be treated on one table, operation-wise, so don't ask me how and why, but a traction bench can only be used by one dwarf at a time. So due to that, you will require most likely more traction benches than you require tables. I personally like to put more tables in there. It is not that much of a necessity there. I just like to have it realistic because I find it highly stupid to have several dwarfs lying on one traction bench. So we have again one of our dudes looking to build an artifact. Let's see what happens there. So, claim the carpenter's workshop. Now let's pay close attention to what is happening there. But before oh yeah. So, Seems like already got everything. So another thing that I want to do now is I want to prepare the other required goods for our hospital because we are not done yet, you know. Hospitals are quite a demanding beast. Yeah, let's call it like that. By the way, it's time to dismantle those shops up here. I just want to make sure that no workers get trapped up here in an environment where they actually don't want to work. As you see there, we're dismantling the entire economy up here bit by bit. And first thing I require is another growth chamber because we're going to go into another field of farming today. Because in the long run, a hospital requires soap. Soap is just darned important for a hospital. You need also access to water, which we have already figured out with the well. It is a bit far away, but it should work. I hope so at least. And the other thing is soap. Soap is a bit harder to come by. Soap is a product made out of lye, which is basically only made out of ash. That's not the biggest problem, but the other component of soap is fat or oil. So you can have that either via animal or via plants. So luckily our caravan always comes with something to help us out. We have the rock bushes for that. Hey, we have made a artifact family heirloom dwarf well, cage. All right, the generals of folding. You do you. Good, good. I don't mind. So, to process that stuff into oil, though, that's where things get complicated. First off, we require a couple of new workshops, a soap maker's workshop for that. I'm going to put them up here down, although I think it would be better to do that differently, but you get the idea. We need buckets and we need blocks. Hopefully someday soon somebody will take care of that one here too. Well, every artifact that gets produced successfully in your city is a good thing, because it increases the value of your entire city, so never shy away from that to help your dwarfs, especially since it's quite lethal for a dwarf not to fulfill his desires. So, yeah, well, we're going to plant down the stuff there, but we cannot make soap just like that. No, it ain't that easy. So the next thing we require will be a screw press. So I hope I have the necessary materials for that. Yeah, mechanisms, 2 mechanisms actually, but that's that. And the other thing we require is going to be a quern. It would be actually better to have a proper millstone at that point, but we just don't have that. It would require power in any way. We haven't explored that topic in this tutorial series yet. So next thing on the list, we make ourselves a rock quern. It doesn't really matter made out of which material it's made, but it's getting made. So let's have a look-see real quick into our hospital. The chest we've provided has been filled with materials. You see, thread is there, cloth is there, splints, well, we could require more than these, splints and crutches, and there's casting powder and buckets. So splints and crutches, well, as you might already guess, you need the crutch for heavy leg injuries and you need the splints for fixing up injuries. So to make a splint, we just go on over into the work order tab, and I highly recommend you to, whenever you wonder how on earth to make something, this is your best friend, because it has access to all the recipes in the game. And whenever I want to find out which material I could use for these things, I love to use this menu. All right. So as we see there, metal. Metal is a good friend of ours to make splints. I'm pretty sure we could make them out of wood too, but we noticed already that wood is a little bit of a scarce material, whereas iron turned out to be an abundant friend of ours. So let's do this. We go for a total amount of iron splints in our city of, let's say, 10. Why not? We really have enough material to facilitate that, and then we make one iron splint. So, same thing for the crutches. Let's see. We can make them out of iron too. Yeah, why not? Might be a little bit heavy, but whatever. And same thing here. We make sure that we got 10 of these suckers, and there we go. This way, we will now have a steady reproduction of these items that will go into our hospital. So, let's see if the traction bench has been finished already. There we go. Oh boy, they pretty. They even they even decorated them. Those crazy dwarfs. Damn. Well, technically, it doesn't matter if your traction bench is pretty or not. You know. Here we go. The rope is pigtail. I think that was the thing here. Yeah, right. We have no real decorations on that. Good. But now the hospital is operable, you know? We don't have a huge hospital there. The only things we don't have right now is casts for is powder casts and soap. But we are already working on the soap thing. And I have seen people talking about soap, about powder casts and splints. So the thing is, to fix bones, you can use either a powder cast or a splint. And according to my informations that I've got, it is like not necessarily that much better to use a powder cast, because splints are just that easier to produce. As you saw there, it's really a piece of cake. When we want to produce powder casts, though, that's a little bit more of an issue. So first off, we will require to find the proper stone. That would be alabaster, gypsum, and I think there was another one that was also yielding plaster powder. Give me a sec. Ah, yeah, here, satin spar and selenite. These are all plaster powder yielding stones. And I think, yeah, we have to make plaster powder then again as well. I just can't remember anymore at which workshop that was, but I can't find that. I think it was one of the kilns. I haven't properly prepared myself. I'm ashamed. Anyways, jokes aside, the plaster powder needs to be, you need to process the stones first, and then you have that powder. The powder itself requires then again a bucket, and yeah, it's just a more work intense labor than just using the splints. I think if I remember correctly, that stuff was made here. No? Sorry guys, that just doesn't leave me alone now. I need to know. So I bet it was at the kiln. We're going to introduce that guy soon too. So I really don't know why we don't have any construction work going on here. We have so many dwarfs and no construction is happening. So let's make sure that this is going to be a little bit better. So if ever you get into the position where you think stuff's not getting done, you can just go and check on out. If you can't assign that to somebody. But I don't find where building construction is actually at. Okay. Well, more research is necessary, but maybe somebody in the comment section can help me out there. In the meantime, we can set up the current there. I really don't know why that thing is not getting built. Sometimes I feel like your dwarfs are forgetting your work orders. Because we have assigned the screw press already so long, and everything is being built quite fast, except for these. So let's see if we can't trick the system by assigning a new job. It works for a lot of games in that regard. Because the screw press job was definitely happening after I did that, but whatever. So once we have planted down our rock bushes, it will happen one day, I promise. So we'll have to process them as well. I think it might be that I don't have enough farmers. Let's see. Who's going to be one of my planters? Definitely not one of my gem setters. Definitely not one of my soldiers. Yeah, we're going to assign a new kid on the block. Why not? Probably that'll help. As you see there, this current is already built, you know? It's just a little bit ridiculous that this farm is not getting built. I have the feeling as if it's just because we don't have enough planters right now. Many things in this game are on a complexity level that I really sometimes have trouble keeping track of that. So here, speaking about keeping track of that, I have now a protocol to get rid of all the kittens as soon as they turn up. I will change that at some point in the future, but right now I want to make sure that they don't spam or city, you know. There we go. So let's check out if they just don't like that spot. I've never had that kind of issue though, I gotta admit. So let's see. Maybe you like that spot more. Who knows? We definitely can use the area, so one way or another we'll benefit from that. I just find it quite sad that we have so many ways and means to put priorities on certain things, but we don't have any prioritizations for constructions here. It really baffles me every time. So let's put up a fourth dude for that job. Because I do realize that my dwarfs here are quite busy by now. I mean, we do have an insane production of items here, so that's okay. So, in the meantime, so let's check out how much ash do we have. I think it was among the bars, or was it? No. Oh, where to find ash? This is one of those things in the game. Powders. I bet it's powders. No, it's white sand. Do we have any ash left? Do I have any jobs assigned to ash? Let's check it out. Doesn't seem like I do. Okay, so that's a good thing. So we can just reassign that industry downstairs. Wonderful. Maybe when I'm not watching them, they might be building that. Who knows? So, wood furnace goes down here. Right where wood's at. And we have another petition. Oh, speaking about petitions, we should check on out what kind of furniture it has allocated here. So, do we have anything nice and valuable here? So check out that bed. It's already at 400 bucks. 190 for this one. 300 for that cabinet. The fun thing about your gem cutters is the longer you leave them on a project like that, and given the fact that you provide them gemstones, of course, they just go whacker and whacker, and those items go more and more beautiful. So we're going to make sure our mining door or gem cutters have something to work with, because there's quite a ton of gemstone veins here, so let's just grab them. Okay, but we're getting sidetracked. By the way, this is a very, very common thing in this game. Getting sidetracked, I mean. Okay, so let's produce ash. Ash is something I want to be very careful about, but it is just very, very important. So, wood furnace, make ash. By the way, the hospital is at this point already operational. You know, it is fine. So we make ash until or as long as we have more than 10 logs, and as long as this is met. So now our work order is we have to have 10 more logs to do that, and ash has to be below 10. I don't want a big fat surplus of ash production, and that's a pretty nice way of getting it done. There we go. And so we're going to go into the actual production of the other materials there in the next episode. I really hope that I can convince my dwarfs at some point again to build a farm. I am positive that this will work on out at some point. I thank you all for watching. I hope you have now also the courage to pick up the setup of a little hospital, because this is already everything required to get a to get the fundamentals down. Your wounded people can get treated now, and that's a great thing, isn't it? So feel free to drop me your comments down below. I'm always very happy to hear from you, and the reception is quite amazing all in all. So thanks for being that awesome, you all. And of course, consider leaving a thumbs up on that video. It would be really amazing to have that. And feel free to subscribe. There's daily content coming up from my side. And of course, there's helpful links down there. You can just check out the playlist link, and there's also the support links for this channel, and I'd be really delighted if you'd give them a look. So have a wonderful day, and see you soon, and a big thanks to all the supporters out there, and especially the crazy people who watch these videos up until this very point. Thanks a lot for that, and see you guys next time.